Welcome to Quiz Time. My name is Simon and I'll be your host for the next 100 questions. Sit back, relax, and let's get started. The Credit Mobilier scandal of 1872 involved which industry? Railroad construction, steel manufacturing, or oil drilling? Railroad construction is the correct industry. Which composer wrote The Ride of the Valkyries? Was it Giuseppe Verdi, Richard Wagner, or Franz Liszt? Richard Wagner is the correct composer. The Pendleton Civil Service Act was passed in which year? 1881, 1883, or 1885? (1883) is the correct year. What was the primary export that made New Orleans wealthy in the 1800s? Cotton, sugar, or tobacco? Cotton was the primary export. The first successful oil pipeline in America was built in which state? Texas, Pennsylvania, or California? Pennsylvania is the correct state. Which mysterious structure was discovered in Cambodia in 1860? Angkor Wat, Borobudur, or Prambanan? Angkor Wat is the correct structure. The concept of gross national product, GNP, was developed by which economist? Simon Kunitz, John Maynard Keynes, or Irving Fisher? Simon Kuznets is the correct economist. Who painted The Birth of Venus? Leonardo da Vinci, Sandro Botticelli, or Raphael? Sandro Botticelli is the correct artist. The Bland-Allison Act of 1878 required the government to purchase how much silver? 1 million, 2 to 4 million, or 5 million? 2 to 4 million is correct. Which battle ended Napoleon's 100 days? Leipzig, Waterloo, or Borodino? Waterloo is correct. The first successful commercial steamboat service began on which river? Mississippi River, the Hudson River, or Ohio River? The Hudson River is correct. What mysterious phenomenon was observed at Fatima in 1917? Solar miracle, earthquake lights, or aurora borealis? A solar miracle is the correct phenomenon. Which company controlled the majority of America's telephone service by 1900? Western Union, American Telephone and Telegraph, or General Electric? American Telephone and Telegraph. The nullification crisis of 1832 involved which state? Georgia, South Carolina, or Virginia? South Carolina is the correct answer. Who developed the process of making steel commercially viable? Henry Bessemer, Andrew Carnegie, or Charles Schwab? Henry Bessemer is correct. The mysterious green children of Woolpit allegedly appeared in which country? Ireland, England, or Scotland? England is the correct country. The McKinley Tariff of 1890 raised average tariff rates to what percentage? 38%, 43%, or 48%? 48% is correct. Which explorer disappeared while searching for the Northwest Passage? John Franklin, Robert Scott, or Ernest Shackleton? John Franklin is the correct explorer. The first department store in America was established by whom? Alexander Turney Stewart, John Wanamaker, or Marshall Field? Alexander Turney Stewart. The Battle of Trafalgar occurred in which year? 1803, 1805, or 1807? (1805) is the correct year. Which company pioneered installment buying for automobiles? Ford Motor Company, General Motors Acceptance Corporation, or Chrysler Corporation? General Motors Acceptance Corporation. The Dancing Plague of 1518 occurred in which country? Strasbourg, Prague, or Vienna? Strasbourg is the correct city. The Spear-Sea Circular of 1836 required payment for public land in what form? Paper currency, gold and silver coin, or banknotes? Gold and silver coin. Who wrote The Wealth of Nations? Adam Smith, David Ricardo, or Thomas Malthus? Adam Smith is the correct author. The first successful submarine was built by whom? David Bushnell, Robert Fulton, or John Holland? David Bushnell is correct. What mysterious disappearance occurred in the Australian outback in 1900? Picnic at Hanging Rock, Harold Holtz, or Azaria Chamberlain? Picnic at Hanging Rock is correct. The Federal Farm Loan Act was passed in which year? 1914, 1916, or 1918? 1916 is correct. The Congress of Vienna convened in which year? 1814, 1815, or 1816? 1815 is the correct year. Which inventor created the first practical sewing machine? Elias Howe, Isaac Singer, or Walter Hunt? Elias Howe is the correct inventor. The mysterious Caspar Hauser appeared in which German city? Munich, Nuremberg, or Frankfurt? Nuremberg is correct. The Adamson Act of 1916 established what for railroad workers? 8-hour day work, pension system, or safety regulations? 8-hour day work is correct. Which composer wrote The Barber of Seville? Wolfgang Mozart, Gioacchino Rossini, or Gaetano Donizetti? Gioacchino Rossini. The first commercial oil refinery was built in which year? 1856, 1861, or 1865? 1861 is correct. What caused the year without a summer in 1816? Solar eclipse, volcanic eruption, or meteor impact? Volcano interruption is correct. The Keating-Owen Act of 1916 regulated what? Railroad rates, child labor, or food safety? Child labor. Which mysterious manuscript was discovered in 1912? The Voynich manuscript, Dead Sea Scrolls, or Nag Hammadi Codices? The Voynich manuscript. The concept of invisible hand was introduced by whom? Adam Smith, John Stuart Mill, or David Hume? Adam Smith is correct. The Battle of Leipzig is also known as what? Battle of Nations, Battle of Giants, or Battle of Empires? Battle of the Nations. Who invented the first practical typewriter? Christopher Scholz, Carlos Glidden, or Samuel Soule? Christopher Scholz is correct. The mysterious princess in the tower disappeared during whose reign? Henry VII, Richard III, or Edward IV? Richard III is correct. The Federal Highway Act was passed in which year? 1914, 1916, or 1918? 1916 is the correct year. Which author wrote Frankenstein? Mary Shelley, Anne Radcliffe, or Horace Walpole? Mary Shelley is the correct author. The first electric streetcar system began operation in which city? New York, Richmond, Virginia, or Boston? Richmond, Virginia is correct. What mysterious event occurred at Dyatlov Pass in 1959? UFO sighting, unexplained deaths, or time anomaly? Unexplained deaths is correct. The McNary-Haugen Bill dealt with which sector? Agriculture, manufacturing, or banking? Agriculture is the correct sector. The Crimean War lasted from 1853 to which year? 1855, 1856, or 1857? 1856 was the last year of the war. Who founded the first modern investment bank in America? J. Cook, J.P. Morgan, or Jacob Schiff? J. Cook is correct. The mysterious Min lights are reported in which country? United States, Australia, or Canada? Australia is the correct country. The Elkins Act of 1903 prohibited what practice? railroad rebates, monopolistic pricing, or unfair labor practices? Railroad rebates is correct. Which battle marked the end of the Napoleonic Wars? Waterloo, Leipzig, or Austerlitz? The Battle of Waterloo is correct. The first successful transatlantic telegraph cable was laid in which year? 1858, 1864, or 1866? 1866 is correct. What mysterious creature was allegedly captured in Minnesota in 1968? Bigfoot, Iceman, or the Chupacabra? Iceman is the correct creature. The Underwood Tariff Act reduced average tariff rates to what percentage? 40%, 35%, or 30%? 30% is the correct rate. The Franco-Prussian War ended in which year? 1870, 1871, or 1872? 1871 is correct. Who invented the first practical internal combustion engine? Nikolaus Otto, Gottlieb Daimler, or Carl Benz? Nikolaus Otto is correct. The mysterious Antikythera mechanism was discovered in which year? 1899, 1901, or 1903? 1901 is the discovery year. The Federal Trade Commission Act was signed by which president? Theodore Roosevelt, William Taft, or Woodrow Wilson? Woodrow Wilson is the correct president. Which author wrote Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? Robert Louis Stevenson, Bram Stoker, or Arthur Conan Doyle? Robert Louis Stevenson is correct. The first practical electrical power distribution system was developed by whom? Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison, or George Westinghouse? Thomas Edison. What mysterious event occurred at Tunguska in 1908? Earthquake, explosion, or aurora? Explosion is the correct event. The Payne-Aldrich Tariff was passed in which year? 1908, 1909, or 1910? 1909. The Opium Wars was fought between China and which country? France, Britain, or Russia? Britain is the correct country. Who developed the first successful pneumatic tire? John Boyd Dunlop, Charles Goodyear, or Andre Michelin? John Boyd Dunlop. The mysterious disappearance of the Flannan Isles lighthouse keepers occurred in which year? 1899, 1900, or 1901? 1900. The Mann-Elkins Act of 1910 expanded regulation of which industry? Communications, agriculture, or mining? Communications. Which composer wrote The Magic Flute? Wolfgang Mozart, Ludwig van Beethoven, or Franz Schubert? Wolfgang Mozart is correct. The first practical electric elevator was installed by whom? Elisha Otis, Alexander Miles, or Werner von Siemens? Elisha Otis. What mysterious radio transmission interrupted television broadcasts in 1977? Southern Television Broadcast Interruption, Max Headroom Incident, or WOW Signal? Southern Television Broadcast Interruption is the correct one. The Dingley Tariff Act raised average tariff rates to what percentage? 46%, 49%, or 52%? 49%. The Sepoy Mutiny occurred in which year? 1856, 1857, or 1858? 1857 is the correct year. Who invented the first successful mechanical reaper? Cyrus McCormick, John Deere, or Jethro Wood? Cyrus McCormick is correct. The mysterious Mothman sightings occurred in which state? West Virginia, Idaho, or Pennsylvania? West Virginia. The Webb-Pomerene Act of 1918 allowed what type of business cooperation? Domestic cartels, export associations, or labor unions? Export associations. Which author wrote Sense and Sensibility? Jane Austen, Charlotte Bronte, or George Eliot? Jane Austen is correct. The first successful commercial radio station began broadcasting in which year? 1919, 1920, or 1921? 1920 is correct. What mysterious structure was discovered in Turkey in 1963? Derinkuyu Underground City, Göbekli Tepe, or Çatalhöyük? Derinkuyu Underground City. The Emergency Tariff Act was passed in which year? 1920, 1921, or 1922? 1921 is correct. The Greek War of Independence began in which year? 1820, 1821, or 1822? 1821 is correct. Who invented the first practical safety elevator? Elijah Otis, Alexander Miles, or Frank Sprague? Elisha Otis is correct. The mysterious WOW signal was detected by which observatory? Big Ear Radio Telescope, Arecibo Observatory, or Jodrell Bank? Big Ear Radio Telescope. The Ford-Macumber tariff was passed in which year? 1921, 1922, or 1923? 1922. Which composer wrote Carmen? Georges Bizet, Jules Massenet, or Charles Gounod? Georges Bizet. The first practical electric washing machine was invented by whom? Elva Fisher, John Maytag, Frederick Whirlpool. Elva Fisher is correct. What mysterious civilization built Machu Picchu? Inca, Maya, or Aztec? The Inca civilization. The Emergency Banking Act of 1933 was signed by which president? Herbert Hoover, Franklin D. Roosevelt, or Harry Truman? Franklin D. Roosevelt is the correct president. The July Revolution of 1830 occurred in which country? France, Belgium, or Poland? France is the correct country. Who invented the first practical gasoline engine for automobiles? Carl Benz, Gottlieb Daimler, or Henry Ford? Carl Benz. The mysterious Nazca lines were created by which civilization? Inca, Nazca, or Moche? The Nazca civilization is correct. The National Industrial Recovery Act was declared unconstitutional in which year? 1934, 1935, or 1936? 1935. Which author wrote Wuthering Heights? Emily Bronte, Charlotte Bronte, or Anne Bronte? Emily Bronte is the correct author. The first practical diesel engine was developed by whom? Rudolf Diesel, Niklaus Otto, or Carl Benz? Rudolf Diesel. What mysterious event occurred in Roswell in 1947? Nuclear tests, alleged UFO crash, or military experiment? Alleged UFO crash. The Works Progress Administration was created in which year? 1934, 1935, or 1936? 1935 is correct. The Belgian Revolution occurred in which year? 1829, 1830, or 1831? 1830. Who invented the first practical electric motor? Michael Faraday, Joseph Henry, or William Sturgeon? Michael Faraday. The mysterious disappearance of flight MH370 occurred in which year? 2013, 2014, or 2015? 2014. The Fair Labor Standards Act was passed in which year? 1937, 1938, or 1939? 1938 is correct. Which composer wrote The Planets Suite? Gustav Holst, Rolf Vaughan Williams, or Edvard Elgar? Gustav Holst is correct. The first practical photographic process was developed by whom? Louis Daguerre, William Fox Talbot, or George Eastman? Louis Daguerre. What mysterious signal was detected from space in 1967? Quasars, pulsars, or black holes? Pulsars. Congratulations and well done on completing this quiz. Comment your score below, and as always, remember to like and subscribe, so we'll see you next time on some fun on Quiz Time.